Yep, you read it right. It's happening. You are all teased. And now it's here. The complete world tour of my single player world so far. So this is where it all began. Here on this beach in the jungle. This is the first house I ever built. It's a tiny little tropical diagonal house. It was built on the materials that you could find here close by, so jungle wood, bamboo, and also dark oak, because there is a dark oak forest in the back. You may also be able to see some other houses. That is because this used to be a realm back in the day, but now it's just me. So anyways, in the house there's not too much to show. There are a couple of chests, and they are for the most part empty. This is the top floor of the little house where you can look over the beach. And if you go down here, there's a trapdoor and you get down to a underground area where there are some crops, a turtle, and there used to be a enchantment area here, but now it's gone. Somebody probably robbed it back in the day, and I have no idea where it is now. Moving on, we have I can start with this. This was a turtle breeding pen, I suppose you could say, or not a breeding pen, because they're bred outside, but this is where I put the eggs so they could rack safely without any zombies or pigmen coming over and stepping on them. This is a community board that we made back in the day, like a year ago. And yeah, this world is about 1 year old by now, maybe a little older, maybe like 13 months. Let's talk about the beach design. In the beginning it was just a large sand beach, and I thought that it looked a little flat, so that is why I added a lot of leaves to give it more life, make it a bit more green. I added some crops and some bamboo to add a little height to it, I guess, so it wasn't that flat. There's also a little pier over there where I have fished quite a bit during my time here on the server, and there's also a turtle in a boat. So if you venture into the jungle, we have first a nether portal, and here we have a little community area where, well, the idea was that new players could come and get some pumpkins and some melons, but well, this is only a single player server now, so it's a thought that counts. Now if we keep venturing into the jungle, there's a mine down there. This is where we found our first diamonds. This is the place where I go down when I need resources from underground. If we keep venturing into the jungle, we will eventually come to one water elevator that goes up, and then what used to be a drop down, but this drop has been infested by some veins, so now it's more like you go down a ladder. So it's a little bit less efficient, but it's not the end of the world. And if you come down here, there is a cave spider farm / spawner. So here we have a auto sorting system. So all the different items that you get sorted. We also have mob heads on. It is one of the data packs that we have. And if you go up here, we have like a bamboo floor with a railing here, and this is where you stand when you slay the cave spiders. You can also go behind here, behind the auto sorter, and here you have a enchantment setup and also a tinted glass ceiling, where the idea was that you can see the cave spiders go in, and you can kind of see him, but it's quite dark. But once again, I think it's the thought that counts. Alright, I'm back at the beach again. I almost forgot to show you the egg podium we have here, and also the goat! Alright, let's move on to the next area. Welcome to the harbor. So this is basically a place where I started building the city, and I guess I kind of treat it as like the starter base, the starter area, and also this was my starter base. I can throw up some pictures so you can see how it all looked in the beginning and how it has evolved. So this is the Harbour house, mini factory, I guess you can call it. It has this very industrial harbor look with the rough bricks and the granite. It has this chimney, and inside we have this waterway that goes inside, which I think is quite common in like harbor houses, so boats can come inside and have a roof above them. I also have a bit of a trading hall in here with villagers with various professions. I'm probably gonna make like every villager in here eventually into a fisherman, because not because I necessarily need them that much, but it makes more sense that fishermen are here in the harbor. Anyways, we also have a horse that is obsessed by my golden carrot. Yeah, how you like that? Anyways, we have a container here, which from the beginning just worked. Its main function was to just be kind of a storage system, a more pretty storage system. So instead of just putting up a bunch of chests, I made a container and then put the chest and barrels, various types of storage blocks in here to make it a little more pretty, and so it fits in with the theme of the base. I've also made a piston elevator here, made by, let me check my notes, Dr. Plasma. The idea for this elevator and the underground place that I have here it was inspired by the movie The Dark Knight, where if you remember, I'll probably put up a clip in the beginning of the movie. Alfred goes to the harbor and then looks up a container and then goes into the container, and in the container it is a elevator down to a temporary bat cave Bruce Wayne has, since Wayne Manor went up in flames in the previous movie. So yeah, down here we don't have that much. Have a couple of furnaces that were also inspired by the movie. But we also have this chamber that they have in the movie, where this thing comes up through the ground and the suit is here. Unfortunately, the whole... I tried to do it with pistons, that it goes up through the ground, but it doesn't really work like in the movies, as usual. We also have a piston door back here that you can also see in the movie, I think. But they never tell us what it's for, really. But I gave it meaning myself. And if we go inside here and go through the corridor, we find another door, which leads into a concrete maker that I made. I got the design from Shulkercraft. It is quite a basic design. It produces quite a bit, enough for me. Alright, let's talk about the lighthouse. So this lighthouse was inspired by a photo I found from a lighthouse in New York, or outside of New York, I guess you could say. It is quite a lot thicker than most lighthouses, and that is for a quite obvious reason. This lighthouse contains a creeper farm. So here we have 5 floors and constant water flow, so nothing can spawn. I don't know what that is, but yeah, anyways, so the creeper farm by itself, these spawn platforms aren't really that wide, but then you also need a couple blocks so they can fall off the platforms, and then we have this water area down here that pushes the creepers, so in the end it becomes quite wide. On the outside here we also have another pier where I have also fished, and a bit of a storage area. This is probably my favorite type of storage decoration, I guess you could call it. You just throw up a bunch of barrels and chests, and then just put some other decorations, scaffolding, empty bookshelves, and anvil, and it becomes this like perfect chaos of different storage blocks. At the top we have redstone lamps that switch on and off in a circular pattern, and the redstone is quite simple. If I go into free cam mode here, it's just it's 2 layers of observers that gets like triggered by one another, and then it just becomes like an infinite triggering of observers that creates this circular pattern. So let's move on to the container area by using this little trident launching pad. So this is supposed to be like the large container area where the harbor stores all the thing it imports and exports. So here you have the containers in the back, a road that goes between the containers, and the crane we have here. We also have a pretty big container boat made by a Mr. Argotech. If we keep going over here, there is a ladder down, and here we have some sugarcane and some pumpkin and melons. Fun fact, these containers used to be over here, which is why the farm is down under here. So the plan was that the items that get harvested would come up and then into some of the containers. Then I looked at some pictures on real harbors, and it turns out that it wouldn't make sense at all if the containers are here and the boat is positioned like that. So yeah, I moved all the containers here. Alright, so before I show you the part here above the harbor and then the city that you can see a little bit of, you can see a little bit of the backside of the current city, I have one more place that I want to show you. And that is the mansion, or rather the future mansion. I've only made like a quarter of the mansion so far. This is a Georgian-inspired mansion. And you can tell that by the brick walls combined with like the sandstone edges. So far, I've only made one fairly large room. I've made a library, though I gotta admit it isn't completely done. I'm not happy with the bookshelf design that I've gone with here. So that is definitely a project for the future, and the whole mansion is a project for the future. But anyways, the reason I want to show you guys this is because if you go here, we have a little passage down below the mansion that leads into a cave. Or more specifically, a bat cave. Yes, this is actually another reference to the Dark Knight trilogy. Yeah, I was kind of in a phase back then. This time it's from the Dark Knight Rises, the third movie, which you can kind of tell by this old brick structure that is supposed to support the mansion above. As you can tell, this one is not quite literally doing that, but it is the thoughts that count. And then you have this tech platform that is supposed to go up through the ground. This is Minecraft, so I cannot really recreate that. Maybe someone that is a genius at redstone can. But then we have the lights. I'm not really sure what you should call this, but we have this light structure above here that lights up the area here. We have another like suit chamber, and then we also have the bat wing, or the bat as they call it in the movie. Alright, so that was everything I had to show for the mansion, so let's go back to the harbor, shall we? Alright, so first off, here we have a construction site. To be honest, at the moment it is looking quite bland and flat. There isn't a lot of details at the moment. Its only current function is to be like a front, a shell for the concrete maker that we have on the inside here. But in the future I'm definitely gonna add more details to the ground, add like trucks and different vehicles, maybe make this building a bit higher. But yeah, this is what it looks like right now. This is like safety bars, and this is supposed to be like sort of safety rails that goes along the road. And the purpose of having like a construction site is to make it feel like the city is constantly growing and there are things in progress, and I think it just adds more life and detail to the whole city. Next, we have a gas station. The idea for this gas station, or like the inspiration, came from a YouTube channel called Halney. All the links will be in the description. The idea for having a gas station, I think, just makes sense. You know, you're in the industrial harbor, got construction sites, you know, there are construction workers. We have another industrial building over there. We have like an old Victorian factory, so there are people that are gonna need like gas and such to get around. That's the idea for this. Haven't done that much detailed work on this, honestly. We have what's it called? A checkered pattern floor. That's what it's called. I knew that. And then we have a bit of a front desk here, where I only have like a crafting table, an ender chest, and then some extra rockets in case I ever need. And I think that's gonna be like a bit of the practical purpose, that this is where I will go when I need rockets, which are my fuel, since I use an elytra. To go into the back here, we have a back door that leads to this little back area where I have some materials. This is from the construction site. And these are probably materials from gas station. And here we have just some extra bits and pieces. Also, there is a villager here, and I have absolutely no idea how he got here. Moving on to the next building. So here we have I'm not really sure what you call this. I think I may have gone around on like Google Maps in like some industrial area or port outside of New York. I assume I found like a building that maybe have been similar to this one. This is like a truck port where this gate comes up and you offload different materials and products and such. As you can tell with this building, the parking is on the front here. This is where cars are gonna be built later. I haven't got into to that part yet. It's pretty niche, like detail thing, but it's gonna happen. I'm gonna build some cars that I'm gonna park around, and that goes for the whole harbor and probably some in the city later also, that we will get into soon. So anyways, the entrance is that you either go through that door or you come around here to the back, and here is where we have the larger entrances. And in here I just have a auto smelter. It is not the best one because the items don't get smelted, or they don't get distributed evenly by the minecart. So there's like a lot here, and then the further you go it's gonna be like less items. But as of now it works well enough for me. Now we go through the back here. I have some cats here and a hole in the iron bars here. Actually, we can go all the way around so you get the whole experience. We have a bit of a parking area, another place where there are no cars yet, but I'm gonna build some in the future. And here we have this is like old Victorian factory made out of bricks. It kind of has the same theme as the building over there with the bricks and the like andesite foundation. However, this is has more Victorian style, and I'm not gonna say Gothic, but more like old school, like British architecture with quite pointy roofs. The building currently does not have really a floor. Long story short, there were a couple of farms in here. We have an iron farm, we have a bone meal farm, I think I haven't built that one, and a wood farm that I actually haven't built either. Long story short, some of the farms in my base were built by another person back when this was still a realm. And they were taking up a lot of space and didn't look as good, so I slapped this whole factory onto it to cover it up, and because I think the factory looks pretty good. So this is a quad iron golem farm with a pillager in the middle. I tried to look up the design on YouTube, but I couldn't find the exact design that I used. I have no idea where it has gone. But the whole principle of this farm, I think, came from a YouTuber called Voltrox. If you go to the back of the factory here, we have a exit where you come down here to the harbor level, whatever you call it. Not really sure where the idea for this came, but I just thought it was a cool idea, so that's why I made it. And that is kind of the running theme with everything I build. Here on the outside, we also have a tunnel that doesn't lead anywhere, as you can see, but in the future it is definitely gonna go somewhere. So yeah, that was the upper part of the harbor, and now let's go to the crown jewel of the base. Welcome to the city, or the future city, maybe I should say. It isn't that much of a city as of yet. I got a couple buildings here, but it has taken a lot of time, and it will take a lot of time, but it's fun. But patience is needed. I'm just gonna start off by saying this particular building is actually this is work in progress and a video in progress. So this building is gonna get its own video. So I'm not gonna go into it in this video. But let's start off with this building. This building was inspired by the Chicago Trade Building, I think it's called. So this building is also kind of a movie reference, I guess. This building has probably been like in the background of a couple of movies, but also it is Wayne Tower in the first and the second movie in Chris Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. You can see it in the background in the scene with the Joker with the flipping truck and everything. However, I did make some changes. I have a black stone here, which I think is a cool touch, and I think the roof of the building in real life was quite boring, so I made my own thing. I made a kind of Art Deco shape to it, and up here is where I have my office, or my headquarters, you could say. So this is where I definitely scheme all the plans for the expansions of the city and such. Here we have a redstone lamp display of all the items that I have farms for. The whole idea of this with having redstone lamps and invisible item frames on top came from pretty old design by now. I think Izuma had something like this back in like Hermitcraft Season 7. Here we have a lectern with some important coordinates that are useful to know, and just a bunch of ideas. This is like my to-do list, as it says. So this is where I write down the things I want to do, both because I don't have to keep it all in my head, but also because I check mark them when I'm done, and this creates like this becomes almost like a historical piece, or, you know, this is a list, kind of also like a receipt, I guess, of everything that I have done. Yeah, this page, I pressed like Control A and marked it, and then somehow managed to press X after that, so I cut out the whole thing. And this is Minecraft, so you can't press Control Z and take it all back. So I don't know what used to be on here. Yeah, kind of a fat finger from me. I also have this nice table here. I don't really know what I really went for in the design. It's kind of a mess, honestly, but I like it. This is a very minimalist like type of lamp, but it's really great. I think it just looks good. Also up here I have a bit of a beacon chandelier. Yeah, I have a wither skeleton farm, so I can just produce infinite amounts of lamps. So yeah, this is where I sit and come up with different ideas, and if I had another person playing on the server, I could have someone sitting on the opposite side. You can also go to the back here, and here we have another side with some more farms, and also I guess kind of like a board, a headboard, all the different mob heads. So here we have skeleton heads, skeleton skulls, zombie heads, and creeper heads. Those are from using the trident. These are some of the skeleton skulls, wither skeleton skulls I have, but there are quite a few more in the farm in the nether. And yeah, this is from End City raiding. I also have a stair going down here. So here we have a nether portal and an elevator that take you up here. However, I have rockets, so I don't use the elevator like an absolute casual. If we go around here, we have another office. This is like the secondary office, but I gotta say, I actually prefer this one. It's really cozy in here. So in here we have the same lamp design, another type of table design, painting of two villagers. Also, yeah, since this building was inspired by like Wayne Tower, I of course, as in the Dark Knight Rises movie, have a secret door in the bookshelf here. So if we press this button, I can go through here, and here we have a secret room, the private secret balcony, I guess. As of now, there isn't too much here, but I was thinking of having a secret elevator here that leads down to a underground area under the building, as they have in the movies. We also have a secret sign passage here that you can go through. Yeah, I should probably show the bottom of the building. Here we have a clock, by the way, in case you couldn't tell. If you go in here, we have like 3 entrances in the front. Here you have the elevators, a maxed out beacon on both sides. Currently there is no interior here, and that goes really for all the buildings. The time just building the exterior has been such time consuming, and at the moment I'm actually more going for the exterior and the interiors, because the whole vision is to just have like these fairly narrow streets. They are gonna be quite detailed in the future, and we have these manholes that just emit steam, and I want to have like that ground level really combined with like a high skyline. And these buildings are fairly big and fairly tall at the moment, but I think this is the highest building, and this is only like 150 blocks high. With the new build height, I can probably make a building that is twice as tall. So here we have the tiniest building in the city so far. This is it's just a small like sandstone building with some gothic characteristics. It's quite spiky. It has like these tiny peaks. It also has this is like a display. This is just you have this frame and then this painting put on top of sea lanterns. So right now you can't really tell that it is like a display screen, but if it's nighttime, it shines a fair bit. And like the inspiration from this probably came from like imagine the opening scene as an example in the Batman, where there are just all these large displays, almost like cyber punky feel. So this is a thing that I'm definitely gonna keep doing, and probably on even like larger scale. On the roof here we also have a water tower, which is quite common for East Coast cities in the US. If we go inside, there isn't too much to look at the moment. As I said, that's a running theme, but this is probably gonna be like, I think I'm gonna make this into like a restaurant almost. So a bunch of tables, a bar here, and probably, and it's also gonna have like a second level, a second floor, which this is. And I just think this is such a cool place to be in, especially when like a lot of surrounding buildings are done and you just have this 360-degree like window where you can just look up, just look at all these tall buildings. You just feel so like small and almost consumed by the skyline. So yeah, this is for now probably like my favorite place in the city. This is probably the largest probably this is the largest building in the city as of now. The idea, or like the function that I think I want the building to maybe have, is like maybe to make it like into a either like maybe a shopping center. But yeah, there is so much space here. I mean, I could make apartment here. This could be like a really luxurious restaurant that you could have on the top floor here, or just make a large penthouse. That is also an option. I mean, there are so many possibilities. So the next building is this building. This one is a bit different when it comes to the choice of materials. As you can tell, this is primarily built with bricks and normal terracotta. We also have like these street shops. Maybe this will be in the future. Anyways, like the exterior is made by this nether wood. I can't remember what it's called. Oh yeah, warp like nether wood. I think this is a really cool design. It has quite a bit of depth, because at the start it goes in a bit and then it goes out, and then you have like this kind of central piece that goes in again with more normal terracotta. Then you have this corner here, and it continues all the way into the tunnel that comes here. So if we continue here, we actually have a bit of interior. This is like the bank of the city. So if you go inside here, we have like a almost like Roman styled interior made out of quartz. So this is the main like purpose and function is that this is a villager trading hall. This is where I've put some villagers now. Most of them have professions. These ones do not. This one has smite 5 per 1 emerald. I'm probably gonna have to take that trade. So yeah, this is gonna be like just a villager trading hall. On this floor, it's gonna be probably only librarians. And so I have like a villager for one of each enchantment. It feels like almost a little bit cheaty, but I gotta be able to save time and be more efficient where I can. So yeah, currently I have filled up half the building. We have another half, so it's gonna be a lot of villagers. It's probably more than I need, honestly. I don't think there are that many different enchanted books, especially since you can get multiple good trades on one villager. Here we have the receptionist, I guess you could call it. This cute cat here that I have yet to name, but if you have name suggestions, you can definitely drop them in the comment section below. So this is where the cat sits. I have a little chandelier here. Quite small one though, because there isn't that much space. Got a couple of flower pots here with some different tree saplings to make it a bit more green and just break up this quite sterile and just bright build theme that we have in here. We also have 2 elevators. This one with green glazed or lime green glazed terracotta, that if you can tell, like the pattern is pointing up, so that is the elevator that goes up, and this one points down, so it goes down. Wait, so I am sitting here editing and I just realized that the patterns are literally reversed. So if you go up, there isn't too much yet. But if I expand this trading hall and maybe make another floor with some other profession, maybe stonecutter or something, which could be useful, I'll make it here. But so far we only have a beacon here, so I can have speed 2, so it becomes just a little easier to walk around in this fairly big space. So while we walk the street here, you could probably tell that we have kind of an elevated metro, which is also quite common in like East Coast cities as like New York and Chicago. So here we have the stairs up. So this is gonna be like station. As of now, the railway station isn't that big, but it is gonna be a kind of a crucial part of this city. I think it has a really cool like element and adds just like another layer to the city, so you just don't have like the ground level and then just the roofs and the tall buildings. You know, it creates another layer, and I just think it looks cool. I think I've come up with a pretty cool design also. I like the contrast with like the gray foundation, and then it goes up to like these these mud bricks, and then to finish it off you have these you have these dark prismarine blocks. I also think having this railway and being able to just go under it just creates like another just more atmosphere while just walking on the road here, because you're not just completely beneath like the skyline and the tall buildings. Like you just have another like roof, and it just creates such an interesting like layer to such a absurdly large city. Now if we go to the like end of the railway as it is right now, and this building, we have just a small tunnel that goes through a mountain here and come out on the other side. We are at kind of the edge of the metropolitan city, and here we have a bridge over to the harbor. So that was the city and the world tour. Hope you liked it. Maybe you got a little inspired yourself. And with that being said, thank you for watching.